So President Trump seemed to give the middle finger to someone who was heckling him while he was touring a Ford factory in Dearborn, Michigan.
That, according to the New York Times.
Yeah. TMZ released this video of the interaction as the New York Times described it. President Trump raised his middle finger at a heckler who accused him of being a, quote, pedophile protector. It was a fleeting interaction that happened while the president was out of sight of a small group of reporters that travels by his side as part of the press pool. The Times added Trump mouthed a two-word response. It was difficult to make out what he said in the clip published by TMZ, though it sure looked like something beginning with the letter F, and it wasn't Ford. A spokesperson for the United Auto Workers said the employee has been suspended, but did not identify the individual who it was. The White House communications director defended the president's response, calling the heckler a lunatic, and that Trump gave an appropriate and unambiguous response.
It's fascinating.
I think he was referring to the Epstein files, the heckler.
The heckler, was. He called him something regarding the Epstein files. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, coming out of this, the real takeaway is that, first of all the preaching about free speech, you get a guy fired there. You could look after Charlie Kirk's death and J.D. Vance running around telling people to go around trying to get people fired. You can't have free speech on the streets of Minneapolis or you get the hell beaten out of you. You can just go down the list. And this idea of free speech, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Not there.
So as for his speech in Detroit, the president defended his handling of the economy amid growing pressure on affordability issues.
Grocery prices are starting to go rapidly down. Rent is down. Airfares are down. Hotel rates are down. Cell phone prices are down. And we're just getting started. It's an election about high prices that was caused by the Democrats and that I brought down a lot. And remember, when you see energy coming down like I brought it down and gasoline coming down, that brings everything else down. When we would have drug prices stay the same, everybody thought it was great. They're going to be coming down thousands of percents. We're standing up to special interests and slashing prescription drug prices by 300, 400, 500, and even 600% and more. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our economy is booming like I think you'll see soon, like never before.
Oh, maybe soon, but certainly not now. There's so much wrong in what the president just said there that we just have to sort through it, because these are the sort of things that in the past he's said and people just sort of take whole cloth, even people in the media. But, you know, the president said that prices were going down and said food prices were going down quickly. Well, the fact is that December, the last month that was reported, food prices actually shot up at a faster rate than any time in 3 years. The food prices did not shoot up as much as they did last month since 2022. The president also said that inflation's gone. Inflation's not gone. Inflation's at about 2.7%. For 2025, inflation was around 2.7%. And food prices were stubbornly high. So if you're out there and you're hearing somebody telling you food prices are going down, that's just not the case. You also heard that, and the president loves to say that inflation was higher ever under Joe Biden, and how horrible the situation was when he took control of the White House. Actually, inflation wasn't higher ever than ever before under Joe Biden in history. World War I, inflation was up at 19%. In the 70s, the great inflation, the 1970s, it was around 13 to 14%. In the 1980s, when Reagan was president, where was inflation? Inflation was at about 13, 14%. When Joe Biden left office, in 2024, his last year in office, now, don't know if you can actually handle the facts if you're in a warped bubble, ideological bubble. Here are the facts. When Joe Biden left office in 2024, his last year in office, inflation was at 2.9%. Can you absorb that? 2.9%. Donald Trump's first year in office, inflation at 2.7%. Basically the same thing. The only thing that concerns me really right now is the fact home heating prices keep going up. Groceries keep going up. Housing costs keep going up. And Willie, when healthcare, my God, healthcare is unaffordable for middle class and even upper middle class Americans. It's a disaster. This affordability crisis, you know, to say that's a hoax when the very things that keep people alive are skyrocketing to where they're unaffordable, Willie. No lie. No, it's just a lie. The problem is, again, let's just go where most people feel the pinch the most, and that is with the groceries. They shot up in December, skyrocketed, worst since 2022. That is something that really worries me because of the pinch that working class and middle class voters are already feeling right now.
That speech in Detroit yesterday was Exhibit A in the struggle that Donald Trump personally is having, but also this administration is having with this issue, which is the data are the data. You just laid it out. And when he says gas is below $2, no, the national average of gas is $2.80, and it's even more where he was yesterday in the state of Michigan. He's trying to will fake numbers into being the truth, but it's not going to work. So he's there to announce a affordability agenda while attacking the idea that affordability is a problem. He says it's a Democrat hoax, that it's a fake story. But I guess I have to do this. So here's my affordability agenda. He doesn't want to take responsibility for it, but it's real and it's true.